Check this out. They know you'll always do right by them. They know this. That's why they keep coming back. I'll be back. Hey, welcome back. To those who have subscribed, thank you. I appreciate your help. This is a very new channel that we erected to just talk about God, to just, give him the true glory, honor, and praise. Talk about life, talk about walking on that path that is straight and narrow, and just all things God, Talk about how you feel, frustrated. Even though we're not supposed to be moved by what we see, think, or feel, but we're still people. We still want to express ourselves. So this is I'm gonna, in this video, I'm going to talk about some recent personal experiences that I have had. Because how I dealt with it, how we dealt with it as a unit, as a family, and how God got us through. So hopefully it'll help you individually and together as a family. Okay, here I go. I know I'm not the only one who noticed that there are people who come around you, be it family or non-family, who really do not, you can tell they don't like you or, don't care too much about you. But they still come around. The reason why they come around is because you're probably the only one who will overlook their faults and see their needs. They know other people who don't exercise God's principles in their lives won't give them the time of day. But they know that at the end of the day, your desire is to please God. So you will love them unconditionally. But they won't in return do the same for you. They will deal with you because no matter how they treat you, you will do all you can to do right by God until it's time for them to go. They will always come around. They've been around the ones who don't care about them. They don't like how that feel. But then comes you. They want to be loved. They do want to be accepted. But because they have an issue with God, most like 9 times out of 10, these kind of people that I'm describing have issues with God. But because you're close to God, they take out their issues on you. Some time ago, I was talking to someone that I knew, and I was, and I was a little frustrated about some things that have been going on in my life pertaining to people that I knew, and how they were, coming at me in a way I did not appreciate. Telling her how I felt, and she was like, well, they come at you like that because they know that you have a true relationship with God. They know this. So they're taking out their frustration with God on you. And I was like, I wish they stopped. Take out your frustration. Take out your frustration with God on God. Stop, making me responsible for how you feel about him. I think that's the most cowardice thing you can do. Some people might be like, ooh, girl, you better. That's how I feel. God not gonna strike me down for expressing how I feel. That's what man will do. Will try to string you up because you express how you really feel. But see, that's one of the things I love about God is he allows me to express myself. During this walk with him, you have to be able to express yourself to God, or you'll be wanting to climb the walls or, go out there and do something in them streets that you shouldn't do. So that always stuck with me. And I knew that that's what they were doing, but I don't like it. So this that I'm talking about, this story, well, this I wouldn't call it a story. This experience of I've had about with a loved one for years. As I said, it's been for years. It's been ongoing, and this last situation that occurred between us let me see very clearly how this individual feels about me. I cannot ignore it or deny it. I don't even think I ever ignored it. I think what I was doing was just thanking God that I overlooked the fault to see the need, and this wasn't overnight. It took time for God to get me to a point in my life where I can truly say I can overlook the fault to see the need more than I used to. Back in the day, I saw your faults and it was like, get to stepping. I don't want to have nothing to do with you. But then God started, like I said, it took time he helped me to stop focusing on things that people do, because Ephesians, the full armor, says that our fight is not with flesh and blood. That's how the devil trips you up, getting you to look at what people are doing or not doing, and then you make your decision based on that. And that's not how it's supposed to be, especially when God is involved. Now, here's the thing. I'ma love you past your faults. I'm not perfect. God loves me past my faults. But when it gets to the point where it feels like overlooking your faults to see your need is affecting me, my peace, and affecting me physically, like blood pressure going up, then that's where, okay. And then you can say, well, if your blood pressure's going up, that means you're not really overlooking their faults. Well, I can't really say that, and you can't really say that. I'm still a person. I still get hurt. I still get disappointed, and I still get angry. But it's not like I'm immediately, like, as soon as you do something or say something I don't like, I'm immediately getting angry and blowing off. No. Going off. No, it's not like that. I'm overlooking it. I might get hurt. I might get angry. I might get disappointed. But instead of approaching you with it, what I'll do is go to a quiet place, a quiet space, and I will express how I feel about what's happening to God. I'll tell him how I'm feeling. Like, God, this is, I'm not feeling this. God, I didn't came to you. I done told you how I felt, and it just keeps happening, God. I'm at this point. I'm really feeling like I'm getting to that point. But anyway, here's what happened. This individual has been very, very close to me and my immediate family. They are an immediate family member, you could say. I know there were issues there, and I would be really playing myself if I acted like it wasn't, but I still knew or believe that there was sincere love there. But as time go by, you realize that this person, they've said more than once they have the gift of gab, and I don't know how many people know that the gift of gab is not a good thing. You're supposed to be a warrior for God. I don't say Christian for many reasons, and I might do a video expressing that, why I don't say Christian, or I do not call myself a Christian. I call myself a God-fearer or a God warrior. But back to what I was saying. I knew that this person, if you call yourself serving God and Jesus Christ as your Lord and personal Savior, you wouldn't say you had a gift of gab, because that's basically your BSing. You're going to say whatever you have to say to make somebody look good or feel good. And 9 times out of 10, you don't mean anything you're saying. So you're being deceitful and you're a liar. So they have said quite often that they have the gift of gab. And what this person failed to realize is that just because I'm showing you love and I'm showing you compassion doesn't mean I don't see you. Doesn't mean that God hasn't given me discernment to see you. And when God allows you to see what a person is really about, it's not to beat them over the head. It's not to condemn them and judge them. It's to actually pray for them. Take your concerns up to God. Pray for them. And like I said, that took me some time to get there, because 10, 15 years ago, I told you, your mama, your grandmama, your great grandmama, how I felt about you and how I felt about them in, so many words. I would express how I felt about you, and I didn't care how you felt, and I didn't care how I sound. I didn't care what words I used either. But as I said, a lot of this, the more mature ways I choose to handle situations, it came over time. We would see this person. We knew, but the love that God put in our hearts for them overlooked all that. Have you ever been in a position where someone did something that was just so cold and cruel to you, and when it happened, you was angry, you was pissed, but as time went by, God softened your heart towards them, you forgave them, and then when they came back around looking like an alley cat, like really down and all you felt and saw was love for them. Yep, that's what happened. This person that I'm talking about put me and my sister in a situation last year that ain't nowhere in the world I wouldn't have never ever dealt with you again in life, doing that to me, saying the things you said to me, trying to literally tried to humiliate me in front of my neighbors. And I live on a very quiet, respectable respectable community. I say it's quiet, I mean 24 hours a day. People have come over in the afternoon and just they are like astonished by how quiet it is. But the police was called. I was accused of doing something I didn't do. I was accused of saying things I didn't say. It just really made me and my family look bad. And this is someone who's related to me by blood. So of course we were clear because it wasn't the truth. But it left a wound. It was very hurtful because when they came here, they didn't have anywhere to go. We opened our doors up to them, our hearts up to them, and helped them. I helped them in a way that I would have wanted to be helped. My sister gave them money. We bought them clothes. We made room in our home for them. And they just, if it was Satan in the flesh, that's how it was. That's how treacherous it was. And the reason why it happened, it was something so small and minor. It was just us sitting down one Sunday in the late morning talking about what we wanted and didn't want in our home. And it was nothing unreasonable. It was just basically respect and consideration. Because you talked a good game when you was preparing to come and live with us over the phone. They talked a good game. His spouse talked a good game. But when the day that she walked through our doors, I saw the whole disposition. I saw her countenance changed. The whole attitude came. And I already knew that this wasn't going to be good. To the point where the very next day after they moved in, they got kicked out. That's how bad it was. It was either you get kicked out, either you leave like they did, or it was going to be very bad. And I'm not going into details. It was going to be very bad. So that's how bad it was. That's how it was. Like, I saw the first day that she came into our home, I saw what I saw on her face, and it was a very nasty, unappreciative, vile thing I saw on her face. Like any chance she could get to come and cause confusion and chaos and try to lord over us in our house, she would have done it. She would have done it. And the next morning, I basically pulled them aside. I set them down in the living room, and everybody was present, and I just expressed how I felt. I wasn't nasty. I didn't cuss them out. I didn't, put them on blast. I didn't try to humiliate them. I just said how I felt, and it just went to the left. It was really crazy how it went to the left. And I have proof for everything that I'm saying. And I said, I'm not even going to do that. I'm not even going to put them out there like that. But yeah, it was nothing said or done for it to go the way it went. And I ascertained that it went that way because you have secret animosity in your heart towards me. Even though we were giving to you literally, you still had animosity towards us, even gave you access to a car, still daggers thrown at the back. So yeah, it was a terrible thing that happened last year, and it hurt so bad, and I didn't think I was gonna ever recuperate. It left you in a daze, like, God, what the? I'm choosing to share this because I'm trying to explain and show you how the love of Jesus Christ is still present in your heart, even when you are tested and tried in ways that you can't imagine. You just have to want to have that love in your heart when you're tested beyond your mind's comprehension in such a wicked, evil way. It consisted of me expressing, putting down rules in my house. I don't care if you're 80 years old. If you're in my home, you have to show respect. And they both got angry, walked out of the room, went into the bedroom, and I didn't have peace with it. So I went and I didn't knock on the door where I used to knock on the door. I just opened the door. I was like, look, we're not having this division. If there's anything you need to say, or if you're feeling a certain kind of way, express that. But I'm not going to have this seething animosity in my house. My sister came and she said some things, and they just got hot and angry and, saying some ridiculous things. And I told them to leave. Just go. Let's have some space, cool off. I even gave them some gas money so that, because they didn't have any money. So they left, and when they left, me and my sister were talking. We was like, yeah, they can't be here, because the girl his wife was so deceitful. She was so deceitful. I knew, even though we were talking before, it took them some time to get here. And I just was feeling that she wasn't sincere. But like I said, because she was married to someone that's very close to us, we decided, I'm not going to just help him out and not help her and their children. And but the day that I noticed that the day that they were set to physically move in our home, I felt uncomfortable. I just didn't feel comfortable. It was a little uncomfortability there, but it wasn't as strong as it got the day that they were supposed to move in. Well, they moved in. I sat back and watched her. She sat back on her phone, on social media, legs crossed, sitting back, drinking it. And it was kind of warm that day. It was in the summertime, August. And I sat there and I just watched. I was helping as much as I could, but I had worked for like 2 weeks straight getting this room together for them. And I was tired. So when she sat back and watched him just work like a slave on the field, didn't offer to help at all, I was like, damn, this is what you gonna do? And I pulled him aside. I was like, why isn't she offering to help you? Oh, well, she, he had a million excuses in the world, but I still didn't like it. So as time went by, that day, it was only one day she was only here for one day. Prior to her moving in, he was here for a minute by himself, and she concocted a story because she was staying up north, and she concocted a story saying that her family member attacked her. And of course he was bothered, we was bothered, and we told him to bring her down, because the plan was for her to stay up north, get her stuff together, and then he was going to get his stuff together out here. But because she saw, see, that's why you need to not show everything that somebody's doing for you, and it ain't their business, because she had an issue with jealousy. So he was showing her and telling her all the things that was going on out here with him and us. And we later on found out that she lied. Nothing happened. She just contrived that story because she wanted to come out here. And then just all hell broke loose. Him thinking that he needed to defend her, which he made the wrong choice. They both got kicked out. And she called the police. She told the police that I pulled a gun out on her and this, that, and the other, which I didn't do. And we threatened to kill them or shoot them. It was just like, and the police came to my home with guns drawn. Yeah, it was terrible. And like I said, if you know what kind of community I live in, you would know that was just like, yeah, that's something you don't do. So anyway, it took some time, like 5 months later after that, he ended up contacting us again this year and said that everything we told him about the girl, I'm not going to say woman, girl he was with, it was true. He was down at the lowest of the lows. He was confessing things that he had been involved in, which wasn't good at all. And he, said if we found it in our hearts to forgive him or help him, he just wanted a blanket and some food. He didn't have anywhere to go. So as I'm listening to this, I'm saying, boy, you please, you're not getting wild again after what you did. And God said, don't turn your back on him. So my sister and I discussed it again, and we was like, okay, we're going to give him another chance. Came over. He was here a couple of months, and as time was going by, layers was coming off, revealing the truth. It was like saying little smart things to us, condemning us, judging us, thinking that he was supposed to tell us what to do. And like I called him and it was like, hey, can I come stay with you? I don't have nowhere to go. Like the script was flipped. And I'm thinking to myself, you don't remember that you called us and asked us for help again? So why you think you need to come over here and tell me what to do? I mean, you got all this advice. Why didn't it work for you? How you go from losing a career or having to take time off of a career, losing your income? I'm not even going to tell you how much this person was making a year. But how you go from that to nothing and asking us for help and then thinking you're supposed to tell us what to do? I mean, because if you have so much advice, it seemed like you should have took your own advice. Maybe you would be in a better position. So it was like ignoring a lot of things, not responding to a lot of things, just being the bigger God person. Till one day I had enough, and I went there and I told him he can go. I was like, it's not safe for you in here. You gotta go. You need to go. And of course he couldn't think about us still letting him come in our home even after he allowed the devil to use his mouth against us. He didn't think about all that, how we still ended up helping him again, how we still ended up just doing things for him from the kindness of our heart, and because we was told to. Showed his ugly side again. And I just last time it just let me see how much he has so much envy in his heart towards me and my sister. And it came from his sister, our sister. It came from his mother, our sister. It's always been there. He just knew how to cover it up. Or I guess as he got older, it started coming out more. He couldn't hide it. So I think he was also angry with how his life turned out, because he believes that he's a avid God-fearer, but no, he's not. And I'm not judging. I'm telling you, no. The things he's done in the past and recently, no, you don't do those things. And two, God told me in 2017 that he was going to lose everything he had, and I actually forgot. And I mentioned it to him this last time he was here because, it was apparent that he lost everything. And one of the reasons God told me he was going to lose everything is because he kept making bad choices. So I'm not trying to smear him or put him on blast, because if I was, I can go through details after details to paint a very vivid picture of, things that he's done and said. but I'm not. When God, the scripture is God, where God says that when you are assailed, know that it's not me. Yeah, I was assailed. But you know what? God gave me the opportunity to let him see, to let me know that no matter what it looked like, or no matter how I feel, no matter what someone has said about me, I have the ability to love people like Jesus Christ. And some might be like, how? Let somebody stump on you and drag you through the mud, and you still just have love and forgiveness in your heart. You don't want to blow them up. You don't want to put them on blast online. You don't want to, act like you're just, I'm sharing a story, but you're really just, tearing a person down. God let me see this last time that he came to our home asking us for help again, that I have true love in my heart. I have the kind of love in my heart that Jesus Christ, I'm sure, has. I'm not trying to say I'm love casts away fear. You can't be full of fear and anger and bitterness and unforgiveness and say you had the love of Jesus Christ in your heart. It don't work that way. Because if it wasn't there, if I didn't have the love of Jesus Christ, if God didn't gift me with that kind of love, he wouldn't have never been in my house the first time. Matter of fact, I don't think I would have anything to do with him. Just because of some treacherous things that have been done in the past and said in the past. Perfect example, relatives outside of him. I'm talking about aunties, uncles, cousins. I've had the opportunity 2 years ago to express love for them in ways that, I didn't even know was there. And I have been treated so cruelly by my relatives. Cruel, like treated like I don't exist. And I still show love and still do to this day. But you're not going to walk over me, but I still love you. I don't have any hatred or animosity in my heart towards you. And that person who did me and my sister, wrong again, just recently, this just happened March this year. I love them. I do. And I truly forgive them. You're not going to keep doing me like that. And I know that, to Jesus, when he went to a town and he was trying to minister in that town and they rejected him, Jesus shook the dust off his feet. You're not going to keep psychologically and verbally trying to assassinate me. It gets to a point where God is not even going to allow it anymore. God is not going to keep letting someone come into your life to abuse you. And, he'll send them for you to help them in whatever way he leads you to help them. But when it gets to a point where it's just becoming abusive, then that ain't God. Because my sister, at first he was refusing to leave. I was on my way back home and I'm talking to God in the car. Actually, I wasn't talking. I was just like, God, you got to do something. Because I'm at a point where if it seemed like he's trying to bring harm to my household, I'm going to do what I have a right to do and defend me and my household. It's either going to be you or us. So I'm just, God, Jesus, because I was talking to my sister at the time and I'm hearing what's going on in the house. And I'm hearing him, sounding like he's trying to walk up on my sister. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, God, help me. It took the power of Jesus for me not to run through red lights to get home. So she said what she did was she kept telling him to get out of our house. And she just said out loud in a voice, God, what are you going to do about this? You told us to let him come here. You told us to let him come back. What are you going to do about this? Ever since he's been back, it has been nothing but contention. And as soon as she said that, she said he just turned around and just said he was leaving. And I was thinking that was God probably telling him, look, it's best that you go. So by the time I got to the front door, she told me he was leaving. And that was that. So all I'm saying is people who have issues with you, and it was so apparent that there was issues there. like I said, it was like little smart remarks, little snide remarks, little condemning things said to us. And, I would have been just really trying to act blind and deaf to not hear and see. But I kept overlooking it in the best way I could. Till it got to the point where when I would leave and I didn't want to come back home. In my own home, I didn't want to come back home while he was here. So that's not good. Anytime you invite somebody into your house to help them and you get to the point where you don't want to be home, then yeah, it's time for you to start seeking other accommodations, sir. But I appreciate it though. I appreciate what I went through, and if it was to help it, even though it didn't look like it turned out right, we still prayed for him. I still prayed for him. I still showered him with love while he was here, and prayed. And I still pray for him today. And at the end of the day, I just appreciate that God let me see his love through me. That's why they keep coming back around, because they know you truly love them. But it doesn't mean to let them treat you like you are a welcome mat. It doesn't mean that. Just because you love somebody does not mean you allow them to abuse you. Don't do that, because then you won't be good for anyone. And then you might end up holding unforgiveness in your heart. And then it might graduate to resentment and then go on to become bitterness. You're walking around with this unforgiveness, resentment, and bitterness in your heart, and you can't hear God anymore because your heart is stone. How you going to be good for anybody? You're not even good for yourself. If Jesus came to this earth and he knew what was going to happen, and he knew that people was going to turn against them, those that he showed love and forgiveness to, and healed them and helped them and ministered to them, and they still turned on him. He knew this, but he still loved them. He can do it, you can do it, and you wasn't crucified. You weren't humiliated. I hope that was helpful, and I will be sharing other experiences I've had during this walk with Christ. This walk I've had, it's been a walk for a long walk, long suffering. God has gifted me with the gift of long suffering. This is the fruit of the Spirit. Long suffering. People don't like to hear that long suffering, but you're gonna go through it. But at the same time, I'd rather go through long suffering, and be persecuted and seemingly isolated and be protected. I'd rather go. You're supposed to rejoice when you come under persecution. I'd rather be persecuted for the Lord and doing the right thing in God's eyes than being persecuted because I'm out there doing what the world told me to do. Yep. Thank you for your time and attention, and thank you for your support and subscribing. And I'll be back. Take care.